I'm looking for a truffle pig. Someone stole her.
I don't understand.
Tell him who you are.
You made the right choice, being out there in the woods. There's nothing here for you anymore. There's really nothing here for most of us. Buy yourself a new pig.
What are you thinking?
I remember every meal I ever cooked. I remember every person I ever served. You live your life for them, and they don't even see you. You don't even see yourself. We don't get a lot of things to really care about. Who has my pig?
Hello, my little piglets, and welcome to another episode of Quotables. I am your host, Lex, and of course, joined with me is my other host, Ernie. What's up, my friend?
Where's my pig?
Where is he?
I'm sorry. I had been saving that one for you a little bit. But I'm doing well, man. How are you? As always, I'm joined by my co-host, right? Lex, and I know you already announced yourself, but I just love that saying it, so I like to bring it back.
Sorry, I stole it from you.
Yeah, dude, you're taking my thunder here. Like you stole my pig. You see?
I do. I am doing well, and if you haven't already seen the title of this episode or heard Ernie, we're doing this brand new movie that just came out not very long ago, maybe 2 weeks or so ago, called Pig, starring beloved Nicolas Cage. Ernie, I know you have a lot of thoughts on Nicolas Cage. Can you just give me a little rundown on him?
Yeah, of course, dude. Nicolas Cage, is he a good, is he a bad actor? I know a lot of people always kind of mention that throughout just his career, because he has like these movies that are so great, and then they're so highly regarded by people. They're like, oh, did you see this Nick Cage movie? And then you get to these movies where you're just like, wait, what was he thinking doing this? But it's like, I don't know what it is, dude. I love that, man. Like, I can watch any good, bad film that he does and still enjoy it, dude. And I think I want to say this one thing because I think I stated this before, but when you watch Pig, I think the movies that are the highest regarded for him in his film career that I can think of is the ones where he talks kind of the less in his movies. And I'm like, no, I love when I hear him talk a lot, but I just always kind of think that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But dude, what did you think? What do you think about Nick Cage? I know you have a few.
I probably haven't seen as many as Nicolas Cage movies as you have, but from what I've seen, he takes a walk on the wild side. He's just one of those actors who just really goes for his role. You know what I mean? Like, he gets super immersed in what he's doing. He can be a little chaotic. But I think that's what makes him special and what makes him so like famous in pop. Because every time you think of Nicolas Cage, you're going to get this crazy ass performance. But lately, he's been throwing out some good ones from what I've heard. I haven't checked out the most recent ones, but I'm going to. Most recent, obviously, has been this movie, Pig, where it's a much more chilled out version of Nicolas Cage. Like, barely any, like what you said, like barely talks. But I mean, even the crazy performances are enjoyable sometimes. I mean, they're dumb, but like they're funny, right? I mean, it's like popular in pop culture. You know, I think that's the goal.
Kind of the goal is to kind of like be remembered, right? It's like he has so many movies that I think more people kind of just talk about than any other actor I've ever heard of. Like he's got this like, I don't know if it's his charisma or what it is about him as an actor. I haven't yet
persona, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. It's like he has this style of acting, and it's not bad. And a lot of people, it's not for everyone. Obviously, a lot of things are subjective, but I strongly like disagree with people who say he's a bad actor. Like, I don't think he is. I think he has too many great like hits under his belt where you can call Nicolas Cage that. Like, he's a good actor and he has a lot of great movies.
He's a meme dream. if I would say so myself.
No.
I'm kidding. Yeah,
And let me
I'm quoting that. That's ours trademark.
a trademark. Let me tell you something about him. This
Tell me.
man, he cannot be caged. Just kidding.
Thank
Thank you.
Unlike his
quote.
pig, because in this movie his pig is no caged. But let's
That's not
talk.
funny.
Let's talk about
His-
the movie, huh?
Yeah. No, his pig is no cage. He said.
I says no. So yeah, you know.
No, no worries, but I got you.
I just think of these things.
Hey, where you drop it, I'm here to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm going to the moon. You're taking me back down to Earth. Yeah. So this movie is called Pig. I actually kind of went into it not really. No, I never even watched the trailer for it. I kind of had a little idea. From what the poster kind of gives off, it was going to be kind of like John Wick vibes, which it is definitely not. If you're looking for something like that, then look away, because that's not what you're going to get in this movie.
I want to say something about that because I never got those vibes off of that, bro. Like, I that's like everyone was saying that. Even Jason was one of my hosts for another podcast that I do. He said, this gives me John Wick vibes. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I see Nicolas Cage going guns blazing for his pig. Like, that just doesn't, it would have, I think if that would have happened, people would have like made it made it compared to John Wick. And I was like, it would have just, I felt like it wouldn't have had the same resonance as it does now.
Yeah, and I think if it did go that route, people are going to be like, it's just trying to be like John Wick. You know what I mean? Like, they wanted that movie, but at the same time, they would have criticized it for being that movie. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
just
I
can't
agree.
please anybody. But I mean, like, in similarity to like Keanu Reeves, you know, he's one of those other beloved actors. He's not as crazy as Nick Cage, but everybody loves the guy.
Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I kind of want to get into the story a little bit here.
Yeah, let's
'cause I
get
know-
explain it to us, Ernie, because
this
for
is-
anybody who hasn't seen it or is going to see it, just maybe give us another background.
Yeah, definitely. So this movie, well, the review we're gonna that we're gonna do today, it's gonna be very spoilery, right? It's gonna be a spoiler cast. Just kind of fair warning. I don't want you guys to kind of come into it and not know, but this basically follows Nicolas Cage's character. His name is Rob. You don't find out for a very long time throughout the movie, till like towards like maybe the middle of the movie, I want to say. But he's a truffle hunter. He has a prized pig that he takes care of. It's like kind of like his like really, like it's like his dog. Like
It's his babe, Pig in the
it's
City.
exactly. That'll do, pig.
That'll do.
And so they live in like Oregon, somewhere in the wilderness, and you kind of just see that in the beginning of the movie. And he's kind of like, I think that the pig is like so good that he's trained so well over years to find a special type of truffle. They don't say that, but the way they make it seem is like the truffles that the pig gets are some of the best. And it just kind of follows their story for a little bit. And then there's this other actor, and his name is Alex Wolff. He plays Amir in the movie, and he's kind of like the guy that brings Nicolas Cage's character supplies, kind of pays him for the truffles that are like super sought after, and he sells them in I think Portland, right? And it just kind of goes off of that. I'm not sure if I should go super into the rest of the movie here.
Yeah, well, we'll just kind of go in there as we go. Fun fact about that pig, the movie was very low budget, so they couldn't really afford a really well-trained pig. So they had this pig who was mediocre. He wasn't the most famous pig, I'll tell you that. I guess apparently he bit Nicolas Cage like sometimes and just like was kind of a dick. He ate a lot. Like, he's just being a pig. Nah, just kidding. You're done.
And actually, it's funny is I'm so glad that you brought that up. I had that little fun fact as well. I had like a little quote that I guess because after he gave him a really nasty bite, I guess like Cage had joked about it, and he's like, "I've been set on fire. And I'm trying to do his voice. I've been flipped by cars."
You're doing a great job.
But it'll be sepsis from a pig bite that kills me. You know how he talks all sweet?
I do.
Obviously, I couldn't do it all well. But like, it's crazy. Like, a lot of these actors always work with these animals, and they always have a bad time with the animals. Dude, watching this movie, you would have not been able to tell that. The way it was filmed, and I'm sure they had a lot of takes, but dude, Nicolas Cage looks like legitly he loves that animal. And that's another thing I wanted to get at. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, well, definitely. That's another thing that I want to get into is like, I think Nicolas Cage, apparently this time in his life, he was able to kind of resonate with the character and the love for that pig. I forget what happened to him in his life at that time he was filming. So it's all him not acting. It's more of him naturally being that that character. You know, it's more what's it from the guy from Tropic Thunder say? He when he's talking about like actually being that, like, you know, he's
Never
actually
like
acting.
never go full.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
he's
saying?
never go full, but he actually he kind of just went into it. It wasn't like he was going full like into it, like as an actor portraying that character. He already felt that he was that character. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
It's a little. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm kidding. Sorry. So, yeah, I mean it's good. It's good. This little movie it's interesting because like you wouldn't expect the kind of how it turns out. Like I didn't expect it for sure, but like he looks like a straight up winter wild man. Like he's out there. He's got the long johns. He's in this remote cabin. He has a busted old car that can barely even get anywhere. And you got Alex Wolff's character Amir, which rolls up in I forgot what he was driving, but he was like I want to say it was what's that thing that Bumblebee is in in Transformers? Camaro. I think he was driving a Camaro. But he rolls up and Amir's his character's always playing like this classical like Beethoven like kind of music, and Nicolas Cage doesn't really enjoy it. Never really explained why. Well, I guess it kind of dives in there, but like you said, I don't really want to go too far into it until we get into it. So let's get to where the plot thickens. So one night he's sleeping and the pig is restless and ends up people come in to steal his pig, and he gets beat to shit. Like he gets hit with like a shovel or something like that, and his face is just like messed up. So that's where the story gets returned.
Yeah, and you kind of later find out that it was a bunch of like, well, they kind of call them crackheads. So it's a bunch of druggies that kind of break in, steal the pig. Because I'm assuming someone had kind of mentioned him because he lives very remotely, where like not a lot of people know him. Only Amir's character, or Alex Wolff's.
Amir,
who is Amir. And I think only he knows. And so at some point he kind of blames them. Like, did you tell anyone about me? But my assumption is like kind of someone already figured out that he was there. And so they steal the pig, and it's a prize pig. And the way they kind of handle the pig, this is very roughly. You can hear it. You can hear the pig crying. And there's like this emotional, like, you're like, no, don't take his pig. You know, like you kind of feel even for that moment in the beginning of that film, you kind of already feel that they have such a great bond. Like they go to sleep together, and there's like this just love for one another. Like you can feel that through the film. It's interesting.
They make sweet bacon together.
They make a little food. He makes food for him. I think and it looks like it's like some like he uses I think some of the truffle that they find. I think, but it looks really like looks good.
He takes good care of this pig, and just to see it handled, it's like if your dog was taken in this way, you're gonna upset. We're talking animals wise. Obviously, humans are different, but it's just animals. Everyone has their special bonds. So this pig's gone by these crackheads, and this is where he gets to Amir. And they go on this hunt and this quest. And Amir's a little hesitant, but, he decides to help him anyway because it's part of his business. And as we go more down the line, well, actually, let me bring this. Let's talk about this before. At one point, he's listening. Nicolas Cage's character is listening to a tape, which we only assume is his wife, which it is. No, spoiler. So yeah, he's listening to it, but he stops it, right? He doesn't listen to the whole thing because it hurts too much, and we don't really know what exactly happened yet. But we're gonna dive in more, obviously. So we got two guys who are kind of like emotionally unstable. I wouldn't say, you know what I mean, but you know what I'm talking about, because Alex Wolff's character is dealing with his dad. He's kind of in competition with his dad, and he's trying to keep up with him as far as his business goes. And you got Nick Cage's character, which is dealing with this grief, which, spoilers, his wife had passed away.
I think you're right. I think right off the bat, both characters are flawed in their own ways, and they're both dealing with some sort of hurt that has occurred into their life. And like you stated, Alex Wolff's character, he kind of comes from a family of this. There's just like an overbearing anger towards everyone in that family, like the mom, the dad, and him, and he kind of gets the short end of it because the father kind of takes I think he emotionally abuses him. Not like, I don't think he's hurting him. He just kind of like yells at him, talks down to him. So I think Wolff's character is trying to not take over the family business or like challenge his father, but He's trying to make him proud. You can without 'cause, at some point you kind of make it. He kind of makes it seem like, oh no, I'm challenging my father for this business, but you can tell what he wants is his acceptance, and you kind of find out towards the end of the film. And Nicolas Cage is dealing with, like you said, he's still dealing with that.
Sorry, you said Nicolas Cage. It just sounded funny. Like he owns a cage.
Yeah, so he didn't own a cage at the time, but he owns it now. No,
uncaged.
He's uncaged. Yeah, so Nicolas Cage's character is, he's dealing with that grief, and I think that's one of the major reasons he kind of, like you later on find out that he kind of has been gone from, because he's a cook. And he's a very, very valued cook, like where a lot of people know him by name and stuff. So he had been in such a remote area for about 15 years or so, right? And it's a cool little journey to see his character kind of like get out of his comfort, because the 15 years is a long time to be like by yourself with no one but freaking Amir coming to come see you every Thursday. So he sees him like once a week. So he's his only social contact from the outside world. Like that's all he knows. Other than that, he's just in nature.
Yeah, and that's where things like took it. Like I didn't expect that he was going to be some like well-known cook. Every time he mentions his name, people are like, oh, like they know him. They know him in the world. And like he first goes to like ask this one dude in this sketchy area about his pig, and the guy refuses. He's like, oh, you don't have the same, you're not the same impact around here anymore as you used to. And that's when he goes to like this mysterious fight club where he tries to find some more information about his pig. And I was like, it was a little strange because he comes up.
That was a trip, huh?
Yeah, it's like this guy is just beating on some random dude, but they're doing it for money. Like they're seeing how long they can last in this ring. And then he puts his name up because maybe like a lot of people wanted to kick his ass, because like it kind of looks like the guy who's beating him up like is doing it like with a purpose, right?
Yeah, it's like more. It felt like it was personal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And everybody, like, he puts his name up, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Rob." You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, I think. Well, yeah, because he's such a. I'm telling you, he was such a sought after cook, right? Like, that's how kind of they make it seem. Like you said, and it's just weird. Like he's like beating the crap out of him, bro. Like he's leaving him like messed up, where he needs to go to the hospital. Like,
but he never does.
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, he literally gets beaten so bad that his face is swollen.
It just stains.
His face is bleeding. He's all dirty, like very like a homeless man is what he looks like.
Yeah. And
he never showers. I don't think you don't see him eat till like the end of the movie almost. Like towards the end.
Yeah, it's a little but he eats with Amir. Remember, he makes him the food in his kitchen. Yeah, he's eating that.
That's towards the end of the movie, though.
No, that's like near the beginning, middle-ish.
Really? I always thought that it was the end. Yeah, because then he gets that piece of bread, and I know that's like the one thing he eats with Amir. He gives him like a piece of bread that he got from the bakery from one of his old staff, I believe. And but yeah, dude, he just gets his butt beaten.
Yeah, he gets pretty beat up.
That's like probably the thing that made me feel like I did not expect. I didn't expect that at all. Like, who the hell? Like, where do chefs go to fight? Like, chefs are pissed throughout the day.
Seriously,
like, let's go fight
that table.
Dude, I know it's crazy because we worked in like restaurant industry. Imagine like, hey, Lex, let's go frickin' in the back. We're gonna start a fight club. Let's
go beat someone's ass. There was a show, I can't remember what it was. It might have been Mr. Robot, where the guy in it would go, like, he had like a sick thing where he would just pay this homeless dude to just kick his ass, just to unleash all his like fury. Like, it was pretty intense. But anyway, that's what we just do. We just get a lot of food and eat it because we're hungry. But yeah, dude. So I don't know if this was before or after, but we're a little all over the place on this. But he finds the people who apparently took his pig, and they tell him, we got rid of him, like we sold him. He's not with us anymore, right? And then I think that's when it's revealed that Amir's dad kind of has something to do with it. And Nicolas Cage gets uncaged and gets all pissed off at him, like he's fuck you. No. Well, actually, that's not the part.
What was that?
I don't know.
That was a sweet little yell.
That's not the part. That's actually not the part, because he discovers that when he goes to talk to the chef at that one restaurant.
Oh, has like, dude, and he has that like conversation with him, right?
Yes.
And then like it's so profound, but when we listen to it, or at least I think he does that with Alex Wolff. He does that with that cook. That was his old staff that he fires apparently.
Don't have a lot to care about. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, like it's sweet. It's sweet. And I just remember listening to him like, oh my God, this is so profound. Like, what the hell is he talking about?
No, this mountain man, like you wouldn't expect this guy to like be talking like that. But yeah, but he goes to this restaurant. He asks for the cook, which happens to be one of his old staff. And the guy's like, oh, it's Robert, blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to get information about his pig because he has the truffles. And he's like berating this poor guy. Like, he's like, what did you want to do? What did you really want to do? He's like, I wanted to open a sports bar. He's like, what happened to your sports bar? Like, he just like gets under this guy's skin. And I remember we were talking about it after, like when he's talking to this guy, the guy's like awkwardly smiling.
And like shaking.
Yeah, it's what he's like, I don't even, yeah, you can't see our faces, but he's like,
I think, well, because I think throughout that conversation, he's kind of telling them like exactly what he said, right? What did he say? He goes, you don't get a lot of things in life, because he's kind of like talking to him as the broken man that he is now.
Yes.
Not that he once was, because the person he was this person who I'm assuming was very cocky. Like, usually chefs,
I would think so too.
Usually chefs have like this, or at least a lot of chefs that you kind of like, if you kind of talk to anyone in that industry, people will always tell you that chefs have a big ego. Not a lot of them are very humble. A lot of them are kind of jerks, and but that's just because they're like artists in their own way.
Would you say they're salty? Maybe they add a little salt.
I gotcha. And that's a seasoning joke, boys.
Exactly.
And girls.
Yes,
so he tells him that whole thing, and like he kind of like somehow he gets on, like you said, he gets under his skin, and he makes him rethink his life in just that moment, like 5 minutes of like conversation or whatever it was. And then like he's all, I can't tell you. He's all the person, he's gonna get really mad. Like they make it seem like Alex Wolff's dad is like
the big bad wolf.
Yeah, like he's like this like gangster that's gonna have you killed. But he's not.
No, not at all.
He really is not. It's crazy.
Not at all. And like, yeah, it's just interesting. And so after that's when he revealed, like, he thinks Alex's was Amir ratted him out, like, and said, this is where he's hiding, this is where you could find the pig, and he promises that's not the reason. And he's like, my dad would do that, blah blah blah, but like, Nick Cage is refusing, so he goes to walk on his own. But even before, like, Amir kind of reveals a little bit, he's talking about his family, his parents. So they'd always go out, and every time they'd come out more upset. This is an important part. He's like more upset than like when they left. Because I remember this one night specifically, they went out and they were so happy and talking about the food and the wine, which was later revealed that it was at Nicolas Cage's restaurant. But we'll talk a little bit more when we get there. Slow burn. They're placing these little things in between the movie that will connect, you know what I mean? Like in the end, and just like make sense to you in the end, have a bigger impact. So yeah, we got Rob, which is Nicolas Cage. He's walking and he goes to this neighborhood, and this part I didn't really understand, but now like I kind of like read into it a little bit, where he goes to see the little boy and looks at the tree. Remember when he says like, oh, I used to live here, and he's talking about that tree, about that fruit that's just like, if it's not,
it's a tomato tree, tomato, something like that.
Yeah, and
something that grows tomatoes.
Yeah, if they're not good and if they're overripe or like ripe, you know what I mean. And then he's like, it's just kind of hard to dissect a little bit, but it was meant to represent that he had a dream to have a family, pretty much. But like, obviously his wife passed away, so those dreams went down the drain.
Do they ever? I'm not sure if you recall this, because I was trying to figure this out without looking it up. But did you know what happened to the wife at all? I know she passed away, but they don't really.
I don't think they really said. I think it was pig poisoning. No, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm sorry, that was dumb. But no, I don't think they ever say
little piglet. Yeah, it kind of. My assumption was that she had died of some sort of illness, right? That's like, they really don't say anything.
I would think that's probably what it was, or she went to that fight club and just got her ass beat. Yeah,
it was that one guy. She put her name down there, like, let's kill her.
No, yeah, it definitely probably was a sickness, I would assume. It's interesting little things, and then he finally goes to meet this man, this mysterious gangster that we think is going to be like a big badass, but he's just a regular guy. He's just living the good life because he's another chef that is well known or owner, and he goes to talk to him. And then while he's talking to him, we see a quick thing of Amir talking. He said his Amir's mom is dead, but she's not. She's like in a hospital bed and like barely like holding on to life. They never show her, and it's like a super quick scene. Like the lady's like, he's like talking through her the door, and then the lady, like the hospice nurse, is like, "Do you want to see her?" He's like, "No." And I think the reason he probably doesn't want to see her is because maybe his dad just messed him up so much, and the fact that like he kind of, because he says like, "My dad left her to die," and he's right. I mean, he did let her die, right? He just left her there, like he did, and I think that just had such a big impact on his life.
Yeah, may I say something?
Yes.
Because I was thinking a little bit different than you did. My assumption was that the father didn't let her die. He kept her there alive for his own selfish needs. She's obviously not in the state to kind of live on, and I'm sure that he's kind of keeping her alive through any means, again, for his own selfish needs. It's a way for him to kind of know in the back of his head that she's alive, but most likely he doesn't want to know how she's alive. I doubt the father visits her, and I think it because it causes him too much pain. Like, he doesn't want to lose his wife. I think, as much as the son saw them fight and all the stuff that they did, they always had those date nights, and there was a love between them that was apparently there, you know what I mean? And I think towards the end of the movie, you kind of see that when, I don't want to skip ahead, I'm sorry, but there is that scene where he cooks for him. And like you said, they find out that Nicolas Cage at his restaurant had cooked that meal for them. So it gets this resonance of, like the food brings him this feeling of like love and remembrance, but it also hurts him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it hurts him. And that's why I think that she's still alive there. I don't think,
or maybe, he's afraid of what's going to happen to him, like how Nicolas Cage was affected by his wife's death.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that it's a burden on him in a way, but it's also him trying to be selfish for his, about his wife.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, he's there, Nicolas Cage is there with the dad talking to him about getting his pig back. And the guy is pretty much saying no, right? And he offers him money to stay away, but Nicolas Cage doesn't take it because he's so attached to this pig that, which I understand, when you're attached to something, you're not going to give it up so easy, even for how much money like someone offers you. So since he refuses, Nicolas Cage leaves and he sees Amir waiting for him. He's like, "I'm going to help you, get this, what you need." And he's like, "So where are we going?" He's like, "We're going to go get my pig." So yeah, they go on this journey and like they go separate ways. Amir goes to talk to, I forgot who he goes to talk to. Do you remember?
Yeah, so Amir, he gives them a list and he tells them, now you can use my name wherever you go, and I tell you to go, because he's having them get these ingredients so he can cook that dinner for that guy.
Yeah.
Try to kind of...
That's what it was.
He's trying to win him over, is what I'm sorry, I wasn't sure where you were trying to get with what you were saying. But yeah, so he goes to get that list. I mean, he goes to get all these things for him, and that's when I was talking about the bread. He gets that bread from that bakery, from that baker who was like one of his old staff. And it's interesting the way that everyone kind of like... just the way they treat Nicolas Cage's character. There's the people that dislike him, but then there's those people that were under him that were like, in his kitchen, and you can see that they had a respect for him.
Of course, yeah. And seeing him come out of all this time from hiding, maybe just like they're like, okay, this must be really something that he needs. Because maybe they knew how the impact was. I mean, we don't get much of a background on how when his wife died, how much it affected him, and it probably affected his staff around him in the restaurant. And him just leaving probably abruptly, probably just screwed everyone a little bit, right? I mean, because I'm assuming they just shut it down and like, oh, now all these people are out of the job. But anyway, that's kind of like my little take on that. So yeah, they get what they need and they go back to the dad's house, and he tells Amir to convince him to cook this meal for him. And that's, Amir goes to talk to the dad, and he does. He finally agrees. And this meal is like super like just fancy. You wouldn't expect this mountain man to make something like this because this guy has not been eating this well for a long time. But he comes out and makes like this. Yeah, he does say that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
You only got so many things to care about.
Honestly, that's probably. I wish I could have written that down, but we saw it in the movie theaters and we didn't have any notes. We like to kind of just watch as we would.
Yeah.
And that I love it. They do it in the beginning or in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, it says, I remember every meal I've ever cooked. And you know, like, and it's so cool because like, I know it sounds like kind of silly and dumb, but like it just sets that mood for like, damn, dude, he was a master of his craft. And the fact that he could remember people and the meals, like that's on another level, dude. Like that's he was caring for the customer at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of
was
later on
passionate.
why and that's kind of why later he says like they don't care about you, or not later, but prior to that he talks to that chef, the one we were talking about that was like shaking. I think his name was
Pierre. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know.
His name, his name is Chef Finway.
And he was saying these people don't care about you.
Yeah, they don't care about you, and it's because now
it's all fake.
Yeah, exactly. And so he tells you that, and that's kind of like, you know, it's coming from two different perspectives: losing his wife, and then having his wife, and you could see the loss kind of change the man, right?
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, and you know, he makes this meal, and like we were saying, comes full circle. The dad takes a bite of the food and is instantly he breaks down, you know, because he remembers this was him and his wife's from the meal they had from that night where Amir remembers them being happy. And he goes into the other room and cries. And then they follow him inside. And this is the part that got us. Because he asked about his pig, and the dad reveals that the pig wasn't handled correctly, you know, when they were transporting him or whatever, or capturing him, and it ended up dying. And Nicolas Cage,
he didn't make it.
Yeah, he didn't make it. And Nicolas Cage just drops. And he starts crying. And this is the first time we really see him that vulnerable. Because this whole time he's just kept that straight, like, you know, I'm just like on this hunt, like super straight man.
What I like about this scene, like, is that obviously, you know, he shows that emotionality, and like we even like as watching the movie, I felt really bad. I know a lot of people. I was telling you this prior to the podcast, but I know a lot of people like said that this movie made them cry. It didn't have that or didn't make me or him cry. Or at least, did you cry? I didn't see you in the movie theater, right? So we didn't cry.
I just cried because I finished my hot dog. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it was super. It was the popcorn went to the bottom of the bucket already. But we both didn't cry, but it was a very heartfelt scene. And at one point, like later on throughout the movie, him and Amir, Alex Wolff's character, Nicolas Cage, and him are having a conversation, and he tells him like would have had been better if you didn't come find the pig, because you, at least in your mind. Nicolas Cage says like it would have been better if I didn't come find the pig, because then even, you know, in the back of my mind I would have still believed that it was alive. But then he tells him, I think he goes like it's better for him to kind of know,
have closure.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it really kind of just comes down to this pig. He the reason he's so attached for it, because the death of his wife, I think it just made him really come close to this pig, and it was kind of his everything, right? He never really got over the fact, I assume you can never do, you know, that she was gone, and he just hasn't been able to come to terms with it, right? Because, you know, speaking of like the tape, which when he goes back to his room, his house, he puts on the tape, and he's able to listen to the whole thing. And I think he just finally came to terms with everything, and just, you know, with the help of Amir, and even shows Amir like crying too, like he's all sad, like he was affected by it, right? And like it's just very interesting. Like it just, everyone kind of just got to where they needed to be. If that makes sense.
Wow, that was a journey for all of them. And then, hey, little baby, isn't daddy home? The song is all sweet. That's the song that the wife sings from. I do want to say something, because at the end of the credits, if you kind of listen to it, you can hear in the background that there's someone digging, and you can hear kind of like that. You kind of assume that it's the pig, a new one that he has. At the end of the credits, yeah. But that's like a really random little kind of thing.
Little goof. No, not a goof.
R.I.P. Let me just say R.I.P. Brandy, dude. You know what I mean? Brandy is the pig. That's the name of the
was
pig. It? Not in the movie, but I think just in general.
Oh, the actor's name or actor?
The little pig actor. It's cute. She only had like 3 days of training.
I know, little fat.
Yeah, she was cute, dude. I wanted little pigs like that. So, hey, little nanny. It was sad, dude. It was just, dude. I hated that feeling of him losing it.
You really thought he was in it. Yeah, you thought he was in it. I mean, I kind of thought he was going to get him back.
Exactly, same. And then just the way it ends, bro, you're just like, no. I even said to you, I looked to you to the side, I was like, no, it died. Like, I was like, no, dude, like, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little sad. I'm sure there's a lot of this movie that we probably missed, but
No, I mean, that gives you incentive to go watch it.
it is a different movie from what we've reviewed so far or spoken about. Ernie, what do you think about this movie? I mean, I want to hear your thoughts.
I really enjoyed this movie, and it was funny because me and Lex had watched the movie and I said, dude, I need to let this movie marinate, because he asked me, what did you think? And
Yeah,
I
it's
was like,
one of those.
and I was like, I don't know yet, bro. Like, I'm like, give me a few days. I don't know what it was. I couldn't grasp what I had just seen.
Ernie had to go sit down in the dark.
I was on the toilet, and I had, and I was like, and then when your dad is home. No, I sat. I just kind of like let it marinate. I like saying that. Obviously, it's not a food, but but he's a cook. You like that? All right. So yeah. So I let the movie marinate for like maybe 2 days, 3 days that we had seen after we had seen it. And dude, I really enjoyed this movie. Like the sad thing about this movie is that I don't know how to recommend this to anyone. It was such a great film, but you need to just kind of go in to it not thinking anything of it. Like, there is no way for me to tell you, like, watch this movie because of this emotionality, because of this and this and this. I just want you to watch this good acting movie.
Yeah, in the age of like superheroes and Disney movies and all that stuff, it's like it's a setback from what we regularly watch.
Definitely. And I know for a fact is the person I usually, obviously, besides Lex and one of my other buddies, Jason, like, I don't talk movies a lot with other people. I do talk with my wife about them, but she's like the average consumer. She's not really big into them. She's not on Twitter like looking up all these movies and stuff like we are. But I showed her the trailer because I was like, I really want to go watch Pig. and so she saw it and she's like, what the hell is this? And I was like, dude, this movie looks freaking, like, it looks good. And she's like, I don't know about this one. And I was like, all right. So we didn't watch that, but it was just like, it didn't speak to her. So that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit of a hard seller for certain people.
Yeah.
And I know this was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was like produced by Neon or
Bacon.
Yeah.
Mistaken bacon. You like that? You know, you always say.
I don't know why that was funny. The bacon. No, but I think Neon, if I'm not mistaken, I think produced the movie or brought it out.
Yeah, and they seem to be on the rise a little bit because when we saw the movie, like a bunch of their trailers are just showing just crazy ass movies.
Yeah, a bunch of Neon is based, and I'm not sure if you know who A24 is.
Yes, I do.
So A24 and Neon, I feel like they're on that similar vein of movies that they're kind of like dropping throughout like this new movie season.
A movie you haven't seen before.
Yeah, so they're all different kind of movies, but they're in that same vein. But I feel like they're both battling it out for like that status. I think A24 had taken it for a while, but now like Neon is coming up, and like, I love that I'm not sure if there is a challenge. I feel like there might be, just because I feel like I said they're in that similar vein. But I feel like that they're gonna like
fight
I think
to
they're
the
gonna
death.
they're gonna bring the best out in each other, and I love a little bit of competition.
But I think
anything.
Yeah, I think A24 has a strong hand at the moment still.
Yeah, definitely. Well, because like I feel like they've had a little bit more hits right now.
Yeah.
And then Amazon, I think, just kind of like got a few of their movies out, or A24's movies on Amazon, so that kind of helps them out. I don't think I've seen a lot of Neon ones.
I haven't really either.
Streaming services. So, but that's my thoughts. What about you, man? What did you think about the overall movie?
As a person just coming into it and not really knowing what to expect, I also enjoyed it. Like you said, recommending it would be hard. There's only certain people I could recommend it to because I know they'll actually check it out, and like it's a stream it. How about that? Wait for it to come out, because I don't think I can have anybody like go see this, pay for this movie. You know what I mean? Because like people are gonna be like, I don't want to pay for that. Like I'd rather pay for something that's coming out that's gonna be big and worth it. It's like, okay, whatever, I get it. But like if I was that way, I'd want to stream it as well, and I think it would be a streamer when it does come out. If you're a Nicolas Cage fan, you're not going to get the Nicolas Cage you're expecting here. You're not really going to get the movie you're expecting here if you want that John Wick vibe. But it's a different turn for this character, this man, this broken man of many talents. Okay, I don't know how to say that. But yeah, dude, I mean, I I recommend you watch this if you do happen to stumble upon it in the near future.
Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I think I would have enjoyed this movie if it was a little bit more, if it was streamable. It's gonna come out, I think, August 3rd or 6th, I think, coming up. So
Yeah, it feels like a movie you want to watch just like in the comfort of your own home.
yeah, so I think a lot of people are gonna like end up, kind of watching it again, just because I think it's coming out on HBO, if I'm not mistaken, or Paramount Plus, one of those. I'm not entirely sure. But I think it's going to capture a lot of people. It's definitely going to.
It'd be like a sleeper hit for sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like one of those.
And yeah, you're right. It's hard to kind of like, I know it is. I know I have people that I can recommend the movie to, but I don't think I can recommend them going to the theater. I think you're right. It is a streamer, more of a streamed movie. But I enjoyed that. I went to the movie theaters to watch it. Like, yeah, nobody was there, and we saw it like at a certain, like, I think on a Monday.
But
like,
still, like
time.
the movie in general, like it was hard just to find a time,
Yeah, for some reason, because it wasn't just out as much.
Yeah, to go out to the boons.
Not even too far, but yeah, it was beautifully directed. Great cinematography. I love that like setting that they kind of like shot the whole movie in, like this dark kind of like color, and then
Ominous.
Ominous and very obscure kind of like scenes.
Can I say a little something?
Of course.
I mentioned this to you after we watched it, but I feel like Alex Wolff's character, it was more about his character in a way. Amir coming, seeing this man gave him more closure in his life, I think. And he did a great job. Alex Wolff, coming from the Naked Brothers band, he's done really, he's done a great job with himself.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that, dude.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I think he had way more dialogue. Obviously, he had kind of less to work with in a way, right? He was kind of just, because Nicolas Cage's character he's very, just doesn't say anything, he doesn't talk. I think that's hard to work in, because you're pretty much working with yourself. Right, you're just kind of talking to like a stand-in in a way, but not really at all. If that makes any sense at all. But I like their characters. They're a good little tag team. We'd like to see a sequel, Pig 2, The Rebirthening. No, okay, I don't know, or The Slaughter, huh?
Oh my God, I like
sorry,
that.
I'm sorry.
Save the pig.
I
I like that you stated that it was more about his story. I think it was more about the pig. Just kidding.
It could have been. No, it was definitely a story about grief.
I think Pig is an overall exemplification of these characters' emotionality and how they all kind of like connected in this world, and you can see that they had a emotionality connection amongst each other. Just want to say something. I didn't know that Michael Sarnoski filmed this. I think he's only done 3 movies that he's kind of been a director for or an editor. Yeah, so this is kind of like a big movie where he got a big actor to kind of film it, which is good because he did such a great job. Now he's gonna be more sought after. He's gonna be dude, he just made Nicolas Cage look awesome in this movie.
He's back.
He's back. He resurrected his. I mean, I'm not saying Nicolas Cage was gone or his career was kind of done, but he wasn't in the movie circle right now. There's not a lot of Nicolas Cage movies that people are kind of mentioning anymore.
I thought there was. I mean, he just had Willy's Wonderland or something, and
yeah, but
Mandy.
It wasn't. Yeah, but you didn't watch that. I did.
I didn't.
But it says there's not a lot of people that are kind of watching these movies. I think
I feel
this
like
one.
I'm being attacked.
No, just kidding. I know, but I feel like this is one of the movies that is bringing Nicolas Cage back out there, and people are now kind of remembering. Oh, that's Nick Cage. I remember Nick Cage. You know what I mean?
I know that guy.
Yeah. So I'm glad that he's back, dude. I'm glad that I hope he has more movies. He's freaking. It's freaking awesome.
Any other thoughts you have to say before we sign out of here?
No. As always, I like to thank the audience for taking a listen to us. We do appreciate that. We are going to post this on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Quotables Cast, and also
we're
YouTube.
also on Apple Music and some other abundance of podcasting.
Yeah, I think we're on Google something. There's a bunch of podcast things that we don't even know.
Yeah, but obviously the more popular ones are Apple and Spotify and the Tube. We will hope to get to our streaming of ourselves very soon. Tune in for that. As always, Ernie, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.